Ana Cristina ran a sex ring that pimped out girls to famous politicians. Sandra Avila Beltran smuggled tons of cocaine into the United States, and Coronel played a crucial role in breaking her husband El Chapo out of jail. The criminal underworld is controlled by men, but there are women who are making waves in the New York crime scene. In this video, I will be showing you 10 female crime bosses that are currently active. Ana Cristina. The year was 2012, and Manhattan was buzzing with whispers about a housewife from Monroe, New York, who supposedly ran one of the most exclusive escort services in the city. But Ana Cristina wasn't just any madam. She was dubbed the soccer mom madam by the media. Born in Scotland, Ana Cristina moved to the United States and established herself as a significant figure in New York's underground sex industry. For approximately 15 years, she operated a sophisticated escort service catering to some of the wealthiest and most influential clients in the city. Her business was not just profitable, it was allegedly earning her millions, with estimates suggesting she made over $10 million by taking a 40% cut from her employees. What made Cristina's operation particularly notable was her clientele. Her black book reportedly included prominent political family members, international bankers, and wealthy financiers with interests in real estate and professional sports. This high-profile customer base provided her with both substantial income and a degree of protection, until it didn't. The facade came crumbling down in February 2012, when Cristina was arrested after a 5-year investigation that included over 100 hours of wiretapped conversations. The investigation had initially been triggered by wiretapped calls suggesting police protection, though the NYPD Internal Affairs Bureau found no evidence of corruption. She was charged with promoting prostitution after allegedly arranging a tryst involving 2 women and an undercover officer posing as a client. What followed was a media circus. Tabloids called her the Millionaire Madam and Monroe Madam, and her bail was set at an astronomical $2 million. After an appeals court deemed this unreasonable, it was reduced to $250,000, but by then, Cristina had already spent 4 months in Rikers Island. Facing the possibility of up to 7 years in prison, Cristina pleaded guilty to a single count of promoting prostitution in September 2012. She was ultimately sentenced to 5 years of probation and time served, allowing her to avoid additional jail time. Today, at 55, Ana Cristina lives quietly in Monroe, New York, with her husband Joe, her youngest son Nick, and her adopted pigs. She has reinvented herself as a children's book author, writing under a pen name, and has been developing a child-directed website related to social media. In 2022, she mentioned working on a book titled The Secret Desires of the 1% and planning an autobiography. Despite her attempts to move forward, Cristina continues to fight legal battles. As recently as 2023, she launched a bid to overturn her 2012 conviction, claiming her guilty plea was coerced. She has also faced immigration challenges, expressing a desire to visit her terminally ill mother in Scotland, but fearing she wouldn't be allowed to return to the U.S. due to her criminal conviction. Her story even made it to the small-screen Lifetime premiered Soccer Mom Madam on June 6, 2021, starring Jana Kramer in a fictionalized account of Cristina's life. Throughout her public appearances and interviews, Cristina has remained unapologetic, comparing her business to Martha Stewart's operations and emphasizing her loyalty to her clients. While Ana Cristina's crimes involved influential people, her actions paled in comparison to the acts of terrorism carried out by this next woman. Afia Siddiki. Born on March 2, 1972 in Karachi, Pakistan, Afia Siddiki's path to notoriety began not in the traditional criminal underworld, but through her alleged connections to Al-Qaeda and subsequent violent confrontation with U.S. authorities. Siddiki's background defies the typical profile of an organized crime figure. She studied at prestigious American institutions including MIT and Brandeis University, earning a PhD in neuroscience in 2001. According to U.S. authorities, she became involved with Al-Qaeda with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, naming her as a courier and financier. Her alleged criminal activities took a significant turn when she was arrested on July 17, 2008, in Ghazni, Afghanistan. At the time of her arrest, authorities claimed she was found with documents detailing explosives, chemical weapons, and potential targets including the Statue of Liberty and Wall Street. Perhaps most alarmingly, she was allegedly discovered with approximately 2 pounds of sodium cyanide and other chemicals, raising serious concerns about her intentions. The most most controversial incident in Siddiki's case occurred the day after her arrest. While being held at an Afghan police compound, she allegedly grabbed a U.S. Army officer's rifle and opened fire on the American team that had come to question her. Though no Americans were hit, Siddiki was shot in the abdomen during the confrontation. This incident led to her being charged with assault with a deadly weapon, attempting to kill a U.S. Army captain, and additional counts of attempted murder. Following her extradition to New York City on August 4, 2008, Siddiki stood trial and was found guilty on February 3, 2010, of 2 counts of attempted murder, armed assault, using and carrying a firearm, and 3 counts of assault on U.S. officers and employees. On September 23, 2010, she received an 86-year prison sentence, one of the harshest ever imposed on a woman in a terrorism-related case. Currently imprisoned at the Federal Medical Center, FMC Carswell in Texas, Siddiki's case continues to generate significant controversy and international attention. In Pakistan, she is viewed by many as a victim of injustice, with Pakistani media labeling her trial a farce. Recent developments in her case include a clemency petition filed with President Joe Biden in September 2024, which had garnered over 540,000 signatures by January 2025. Her legal team also filed a lawsuit alleging severe abuse at FMC Carswell, including sexual abuse, physical battery, and denial of religious rights, such as meetings with an imam. In October 2024, Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif sent a letter to President Biden requesting her release on humanitarian grounds, though the U.S. declined to comment on the communication. These efforts highlight the ongoing international dimensions of her case. In May 2023, Siddiki received a visit from her sister Afia Siddiki, human rights lawyer Clive Stafford Smith, and Jamaat-e-Islami Senator Mushtaq Ahmad Khan, their first meeting in 20 years. Siddiki earned the nickname Lady Al-Qaeda because of her ties to terrorism, but this next woman made her name by holding a high-ranking spot in one of the world's deadliest cartels. Sandra Avila Beltran. Sandra Avila Beltran, known as the Queen of the Pacific, is one such figure whose story illustrates the complex intersection of gender, power, and organized crime in the Mexican drug trade. Born on October 16, 1960 in Baja California, Mexico, Avila Beltran's entry into the criminal world was perhaps inevitable given her family connections. She was the daughter of Maria Luisa Beltran Felix and Alfonso Avila Quintero, with family ties to prominent drug lords, including her uncle Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo, founder of the Guadalajara cartel. Avila Beltran's criminal career flourished as she allegedly facilitated connections between the Sinaloa cartel in Mexico and the Norte del Valle cartel in Colombia, establishing crucial drug smuggling routes along Mexico's Pacific coast into California. Her role as a liaison between these powerful cartels earned her the nickname Queen of the Pacific. Reports suggest she amassed significant wealth, reportedly owning 15 homes, 30 cars, and extravagant jewelry. However, her criminal career came to a halt on September 28, 2007, when she was arrested in Mexico City alongside Juan Diego Espinosa Ramirez, her then boyfriend and alleged Colombian drug lord. While initially charged with cocaine possession, these charges were dropped in 2010 due to lack of evidence. Nevertheless, her legal troubles persisted, leading to her extradition to the United States in August 2012 to face federal narcotics charges. In the U.S., she was charged with conspiring to distribute large quantities of cocaine. On April 23, 2013, she pleaded guilty to being an accessory after the fact to drug trafficking, and on July 25, 2013, she was sentenced to 70 months in federal prison, with credit for time served. Her time in U.S. custody was brief. She was released on July 30, 2013, and immediately deported to Mexico, where she was rearrested on money laundering charges. In Mexico, she faced trial for money laundering and was sentenced to 5 years, serving time at the Federal Social Readaptation Center, No. 4, in Tepic Nayarit. However, her legal saga took a surprising turn on February 6, 2015, when a federal tribunal in Jalisco ordered her release, absolving her of the money laundering charges on the grounds that she had already been tried for similar crimes in both countries. Sandra Beltran had ties to the Sinaloa cartel, but this next woman has been called the cartel's queen. Emma Coronel Espuro. Born in the United States but raised in Mexico, Emma Coronel Espuro's connection to the drug world began early. She married El Chapo in 2007 at the age of 18, a union that would intertwine her fate with one of the most powerful and feared men in the criminal underworld. While many wives of cartel leaders maintained distance from their husbands' illicit activities, Coronel took a more active role in the Sinaloa cartel's operations. Perhaps most notably, Coronel played a crucial role in El Chapo's infamous 2015 prison escape. She acted as a courier between El Chapo Chapo and other cartel members while he was imprisoned in Mexico's Altiplano prison, arranging property purchases for tunnel construction and delivering a GPS watch disguised as food to pinpoint his cell location. But her criminal career remained hidden until February 2021, when she was arrested in the United States on charges of conspiracy to unlawfully import and distribute illegal drugs, money laundering, and transacting with a foreign narcotics trafficker under the Foreign Narcotics Kingpin Designation Act. Court documents revealed that she was a co-conspirator in the Sinaloa cartel's activities between 2011 and 2017, which included smuggling over 1,000 tons of cocaine, marijuana, methamphetamines, and heroin into the U.S. In November 2021, after pleading guilty to drug trafficking and money laundering charges, Coronel was sentenced to 3 years in prison for her role in the multi-billion-dollar criminal enterprise. Coronel began serving her sentence in 2021 and was transferred to community confinement in June 2023, monitored by a GPS bracelet. On September 13, 2023, she was released from a halfway house in Long Beach, California, having served her reduced sentence. Upon release, she began 4 years of supervised release, during which her movements were closely monitored. As of April 2025, Emma Coronel Ispuro is described as living in the United States on parole, participating in television shows and promoting fashion products, with no mention of ongoing criminal involvement. While Emma earned her spot in the criminal world through her marriage to El Chapo, this next woman comes from a powerful crime family with direct ties to Pablo Escobar. Dolly Cifuentes Villa. Unlike many in the drug trafficking world, detailed information about Dolly Cifuentes Villa's early life remains scarce. What is known, however, is her powerful family lineage within Colombia's criminal hierarchy. She was part of the Cifuentes Villa clan, a notorious drug trafficking family from Medellin, also referred to as the Cifuentes Villa Drug Trafficking Organization. Her brother Francisco served as a pilot for Pablo Escobar, with assets estimated at over $200 million before his death. Dolly's own criminal career came into sharp focus with her arrest in August 2011 in an exclusive sector of Envigado known as Las Brisas. Colombian authorities linked her to the Sinaloa cartel, led by Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, with allegations that she and her family moved over 30 tons of cocaine since 2007. The investigation revealed sophisticated drug trafficking routes from Colombia through Central America to Mexico and the U.S. Following her arrest, Cifuentes Villa was extradited to the United States in August 2012, facing charges in both Florida and New York. In Florida, she was charged with 1 count of conspiracy to manufacture and distribute narcotics and 4 counts of manufacturing and distributing narcotics, all federal charges. In September 2013, Cifuentes Villa changed her plea to guilty on 1 of the 5 charges, with the others withdrawn. This was likely due to a sealed agreement between Colombia and the U.S. that prevented a life sentence or death penalty, despite the charges carrying a maximum of life imprisonment. Her lawyer requested secrecy for the investigation to protect her family, and she was sentenced to 5 years in January 2014. She served 2 years in Colombia and 3 in the U.S., being released in 2015. Beyond her direct involvement in drug trafficking, Cifuentes Villa's story gained additional notoriety due to her personal connections to Colombian political circles. She had a 15-year relationship with Jaime Alberto Uribe Vélez, brother of former President Álvaro Uribe, with whom she had 2 children. Despite extensive searches, there is no publicly available information regarding Dolly Cifuentes Villa's activities after her release in 2015. This lack of information suggests she may have maintained a low profile or that her activities have not been publicly reported. Other family members, such as her daughter Ana Maria and brother Hildebrando, remain at large and are named by the U.S. Treasury Department as involved in the family's drug operations, indicating ongoing family involvement in the criminal world. Given the family's history of adaptability, it is possible that Dolly continues to influence or benefit from drug trafficking networks. While Cifuentes made her mark mostly through drug trafficking, this next woman began her criminal career by laundering money for several major crime networks. Marjorie Dadiana Shakon Rossel. Marjorie Dadiana Shakon Rossel was born into a middle-class family in Guatemala's Santa Rosa department. Shakon. Rossel's entry into the criminal underworld began by at least 2003, when she started laundering money for at least 3 Colombian crime networks. What began as financial services soon expanded as she became an intermediary in the cocaine trade, facilitating the movement of drugs from Colombia through Central America to the United States. Her operations extended to Honduras and Panama, earning her a reputation for efficiency and discretion that made her indispensable to the cartels she served. By 2012, Shakon Rossel's influence had grown to such an extent that the U.S. Department of the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, designated her as a specially designated narcotics trafficker, SDNT, under the Foreign Narcotics Kingpin Designation Act. This official designation highlighted her role in transshipping thousands of kilograms of cocaine per month and laundering tens of millions of dollars. No small feat in the competitive and dangerous world of international drug trafficking. What made Shakon Rossel particularly formidable was her extensive network of alliances with major criminal organizations. She collaborated with the Lorenzana clan, a powerful Guatemalan drug trafficking family, as well as Mexican cartels like the Zetas and the Sinaloa cartel. Her network included notable figures such as Daniel El Loco Barrera, Cesar Barrera, alias Nigua, Hiran Barrayo Lasmabat, and her husband, Jorge Fernandez Carbajal. Through these connections, she orchestrated the trafficking of multi-ton cocaine shipments and used legitimate businesses like retail and construction to launder illicit funds. Her influence was such that she was described as a true madrina by Naples prosecutors, indicating her decision-making role alongside other clan bosses. At one point, she was even listed among Guatemala's top 30 most wanted fugitives, underscoring her significance in the criminal underworld. The January 2012 OFAC designation against Shakon Rossel froze any assets she had under U.S. jurisdiction and prohibited U.S. persons from conducting business with her or her associated entities, such as Boutique Marlery and Casa Vogue. This action underscored her leadership of a drug trafficking and money laundering organization with operations in Guatemala, Honduras, and Panama, supplying Mexican drug cartels. However, in a surprising turn of events, on September 10, 2014, Shakon Rossel surrendered to U.S. authorities in Miami, Florida. She pleaded guilty to drug trafficking charges on December 12, 2014, initially facing up to 26 years in prison. What few knew at the time was that Shakon Rossel had been collaborating with the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Florida since 2012, providing detailed information about drug trafficking networks in Colombia, Guatemala, and Mexico. This cooperation proved invaluable to U.S. law enforcement and led to a significant reduction in her sentence. While initially sentenced to 12 years in February 2019, during a Rule 35 hearing, her sentence was reduced to just 5 years, and she was released later that year. The U.S. Treasury Department subsequently removed her from the SDN list, stating she had credibly showed she stopped engaging in sanctionable activities. Beyond her direct criminal enterprises, Shakon Rossel's story is further complicated by her alleged ties to high-ranking Guatemalan officials, including former President Otto Perez Molina, ex-Vice President Roxana Baldetti, and former Interior Minister Mauricio Lopez Bonilla, who reportedly offered her protection. These connections have fueled controversy, suggesting systemic political corruption enabled her operations. Additionally, she was linked to Carlos Enrique Luna, known as Cash Luna, a prominent pastor whose church reportedly received significant funds from her criminal proceeds. Since her release in 2019, Shakon Rossel has largely disappeared from public view. Extensive searches for updates between 2020 and 2025 yielded no reliable information about her current activities or whereabouts, suggesting she may be living quietly, possibly under conditions of supervised release. Shakon Rossel's criminal empire brought her international attention, just like this next woman, who's been called the biggest marijuana dealer in Florida's history, Charmaine Susette Roman. Charmaine Susette Roman, a Jamaican immigrant who became what some have called the biggest marijuana dealer in Florida's history, represents one such extraordinary case. Roman's story begins far from the Sunshine State. Born in Jamaica's central village, St. Catherine Parish, she would eventually make her way to the United States, where she lived illegally for over 20 years. By the time authorities caught up with her, Roman had established herself as a leader in the Maury Payne Trafficking Organization, a violent Jamaican drug trafficking ring operating in central Florida. What made her particularly notable was that she wasn't merely a participant, she was the kingpin herself. Roman's criminal empire came crashing down in September 2013 when she was arrested in a major law enforcement operation. The scale of the seizure during her arrest speaks volumes about the size of her operation. Authorities confiscated 3,200 pounds of marijuana, $200,000 in cash, and 15 guns. Perhaps most tellingly, investigators determined she had laundered approximately $3 million at the Wynn Casino in Las Vegas. Vegas, highlighting both the profitability of her enterprise and her sophisticated approach to hiding illicit proceeds. What made Roman's case particularly fascinating was the contrast between her criminal activities and her public persona. According to reports from the Orlando Sentinel, she maintained a facade of legitimacy through a concert promotion business while living in a Dr. Phillips condo and driving a Land Rover trappings of success that belied their illicit funding source. She wasn't just involved in drug trafficking, but served as the financial bookkeeper for the group, highlighting her business acumen in an industry where brute force often takes precedence over strategic thinking. During her court appearances, the gravity of her crimes became apparent. A federal judge deemed her a great risk to be allowed out of jail, leading to her being held in custody. The Daily Mail reported that police found several passports, birth certificates, credit cards, and social security numbers at her residence, suggesting a complex web of identity deception that had helped her evade authorities for years. Perhaps most surprising in Roman's story was her family life. The Pop Creep article noted that she provided for her children and great-grandchildren, with her family reportedly unaware of her criminal activities. Her daughters were even featured in a 2017 film, American Gangster Trap Queen, which further illustrates the public profile her case had achieved. As of 2022, Roman was reported to be under ICE custody. Like Roman, who masked her crimes with a concert promotion business, this next woman juggled life as a crime boss and a mother to a big crime family. Maria Chata Leon. Maria Chata Leon emerged as a prominent figure in the criminal activities centered in Los Angeles, particularly linked to the Avenue Street Gang. What made her case particularly notable was her dual role as both a criminal leader and the mother of a large family involved in illicit activities. Rather than operating alone, she created a criminal dynasty that extended her influence. According to reports from TV Guide Time, Leon's criminal activities included drug smuggling, human trafficking, and involvement in murders, with documented arrests dating back to at least 1985. She was also linked to the Mexican Mafia, providing her with significant support in her operations, particularly in Los Angeles. Her home, known as the Satellite House, due to a satellite dish in the driveway, became the headquarters for her criminal operations. Perhaps most remarkably, she was noted as the mother of 13 children, all of whom were reportedly involved in her criminal operations, which were run from this central location. This familial structure provided her with loyal lieutenants and created a criminal organization bound by blood as well as shared interests. A pivotal moment in her criminal career came in 2009. As detailed in Daily News and LA Weekly, she pleaded guilty to 2 counts of racketeering and conspiracy to distribute crack cocaine, receiving an 8-year federal prison sentence. This sentencing was part of broader efforts to dismantle the Avenue's gang's influence, particularly the Drew Street Clique, which she led. Further legal troubles plagued Leon throughout her criminal career. Los Angeles Times reported in 2008 her arrest for illegally re-entering the U.S., with prior convictions for felony drug, firearms, and child endangerment charges dating back to 1992. She had also been deported to Mexico twice, but she was determined to maintain her position in Los Angeles's criminal ecosystem despite government efforts to remove her. The latest documented criminal activity involving Maria Chata Leon was in 2011. She was involved in a human smuggling ring led by Jose Alvarez Marquez, who was sentenced to 25 years in prison. The ring was responsible for smuggling at least 200 illegal immigrants annually into the U.S., and Leon was specifically noted as being smuggled back into the country after a police shootout involving her son in 2008. Given her 2009 sentencing to 8 years, it is estimated she would have been released around 2017, assuming she served the full term without early release. However, no information was found regarding her activities post-release, suggesting she may have started maintaining a low profile. Maria Chata Leon was tied to the Avenue Street gangs, but this next woman was born, a Mafia princess. Maria Luchiardi. In the dangerous and secretive world of Italy's organized crime, few women have reached the heights of power achieved by Maria Luchiardi. Known as La Madrina, the godmother, Luchiardi stands as one of the most significant female figures in the history of the Camorra, a criminal organization based in Naples that rivals the Sicilian Mafia in power and brutality. Born on March 24, 1951 in Naples, Italy, Luchiardi's path to criminal power was paved by family connections. She was born and raised in the Neapolitan suburb of Secondigliano, a traditional stronghold of the Luchiardi clan. Her father was a well-known local boss, or guapo, and her brother, Gennaro Luchiardi, known as Asigna, the Monkey, was a powerful figure who later became the head of the clan and a founding member of the Secondigliano alliance. Luchiardi's ascent to power began in 1994, following the death of her brother Gennaro in prison. She became the first female camorrista to take over as boss of the Luchiardi clan and a key leader in the Secondigliano alliance. Under her leadership, the alliance expanded its control over the city's most lucrative rackets, including drugs, cigarette smuggling, protection, and prostitution. Her strategic approach included controlling the testimonies of many pentiti informants to protect the clan, demonstrating her understanding of the importance of information management in criminal organizations. A notable incident in 1999 involved a shipment of heroin from Istanbul, which Luchiardi advised against selling due to its potency. The Lorusso clan disagreed, leading to multiple deaths and public outrage, triggering police crackdowns and a gang war with car bombs and bazooka attacks. Luchiardi's criminal career was marked by her ability to maintain control over a coalition of 20 Camorra clans, expanding the drug trade market in Naples. Investigative journalist Roberto Saviano, known for his book on the Camorra, described the Luchiardi clan as transforming Secondigliano into an immense supermarket for drugs. Her leadership also extended to prostitution, despite it going against traditional Camorra codes, and she was involved in extortion rackets, as evidenced by her 2021 arrest charges. Luchiardi's first major legal encounter was on June 14, 2001. When she was arrested while driving near Naples, she spent 8 years in prison for Mafia-connected crimes and was released in 2009. Her post-release activities showed continued involvement, as on June 26, 2019, she escaped during a large anti-Camorra operation against the Secondigliano alliance, becoming a fugitive. However, on July 12, 2019, the Court of Naples annulled her preventive detention order, considering her free despite her known role. Her second significant arrest occurred on August 7, 2021, at Rome's Ciampino airport while attempting to board a flight to Malaga, Spain, allegedly to visit her daughter. Investigators believed her trip might have been to expand her criminal operations, as reported by Italian newspaper La Repubblica. She was charged with mafia association, extortion, auction rigging, and other crimes aggravated by mafia methods. On March 15, 2023, an Italian court sentenced Maria Luchiardi to 12 years and 8 months in prison, finding her guilty of being the leader of a Camorra clan founded by her brothers. At 71 years old, this sentencing marked a significant legal consequence for her leadership role. The sentence was widely reported by multiple news outlets, including CBS News and The National. Efforts to find updates beyond 2023 yielded little new information. A podcast episode from September 11, 2024, discussed her as still calling shots from prison, suggesting ongoing influence, but no legal or arrest updates were provided. Given the lack of updates as of April 15, 2025, it is likely she is still serving her sentence, with no further public developments reported. While Maria Luchiardi was born into mafia royalty, this next woman had to climb her way to the top of the criminal underworld. Christina Pinto. Born in 1969 in Pianura, Naples, Italy, Christina Pinto's entry into the criminal world began at the strikingly young age of 16. Unlike many women who become involved in organized crime through family connections or romantic relationships, Pinto started her criminal career with armed robberies, displaying a propensity for direct participation in violent crime from the outset. By the age of 20, Pinto had risen through the ranks to become the bodyguard of Mario Perella, a prominent Camorra boss. What made her position particularly noteworthy was that she was recognized as the first woman to serve as a killer for the organization. Pinto's criminal activities were not limited to protection services. She was involved in at least 3 confirmed homicides and participation in criminal conspiracy. These violent actions established her reputation as a formidable figure in Naples' criminal underworld and demonstrated her willingness to use extreme measures to advance within the organization. Her criminal career came to an abrupt halt in 1992 when, at the age of 22, she was arrested and charged with 3 homicides and criminal conspiracy. The severity of her crimes resulted in a 22-year imprisonment, a period that effectively paused her criminal career and forced a reckoning with the path she had chosen. Upon her release in 2014, Pinto embarked on a remarkable transformation. A 2016 article in Vanity Fair Italia captured her reflections on her criminal past, highlighting her transition to a new identity as a fisherwoman. The 2019 documentary, Daughter of Camorra, directed by Sinisa Gasic, provides an in-depth look at Pinto's life life after prison. The film reveals the numerous personal challenges she faced post-incarceration. Shortly after her release, her partner Raphael, who is 20 years her senior, was diagnosed with lung cancer. Perhaps the most poignant aspect of Pinto's story is her attempt to reconnect with her daughter Elena, from whom she had been separated for 24 years during her imprisonment. The documentary highlights her efforts to bridge this gap, portraying her struggles to re-establish herself as a mother, partner, and grandmother at the age of 46 after missing so much of her family's life. The documentary received recognition at various film festivals, including the Sarajevo Film Festival and the Festival of Slovenian Film, where it won awards for Best Documentary. If you enjoyed this video, check out any of our other videos by clicking the cards on your screen.